that, because sometimes there is confusion, misconceptions, misperceptions. But let me hit on three things that Mr. Scanlon mentioned. As far as the issue of coal. Coal is a commodity, it moves in commerce. The DRI that was originally entered 30 years ago for the construction of the modern port in Fernandina contemplates that coal, specifically contemplates that coal would move through the port of Fernandina. And it sets out these standards for the movement of that commodity. So when Mr. Scanlon says somebody tried to sneak in coal, that's not true. It's there. Now, do we handle coal through the port of Fernandina? No. But coal comes through Fernandina 100 cars a week by rail. It's a commodity moving in commerce. Secondly, he speaks about the power of condemnation that the Port Authority has. Well, that's not unique to the Port of Fernandina, and it's not unique to the charter. The power of condemnation exists as a power granted by the legislature to all of the deep water ports in the state of Florida. This power is already there. It's not necessary to our charter for the exercise of that power. That is, our charter simply mirrors the law in the state of Florida as it already exists. The same thing is true about our exemption from local controls in those areas where preemption has taken place. For staff, I'll give you the statutory references. The power of condemnation or eminent domain granted to ports is found in Florida Statute 315.03, subparagraph 2. The exemption from local controls is found at Florida Statute 315.04. And so when we're talking about these, when Mr. Scanlon is coming to you and saying, well, we have these excess powers, they are not different powers from those that are in, these powers are not powers that are different from those enjoyed by every other port in the state of Florida. The history of the Ocean Highway and Port Authority is not simply the history of a saltwater or maritime port, but as a development entity in a small rural northeast Florida county. Our very name, the Ocean Highway, is first in our name because that was an initial project that we engaged in, which was the development of a second access that we now enjoy at the south end of Amelia Island in the development of what is called the Buccaneer Trail. Coming from US 17, coming up through what is now Heckscher Drive, connecting Amelia Island by road and bridge to Duval County. Finally, Mr. Scanlon speaks about our authority or mentions our authority to do business in the state of Georgia. We're also authorized to do business in Baker County, Florida, and in Duval County, Florida. There are limits on our ability to do business as a port in Duval County because Duval County itself has a port authority. We are not prohibited from doing that, but we are required as a matter of law to cooperate with them in that regard. And if it ever becomes a time where it's productive or prudent for us to do business with the Jacksonville Port Authority, we'll do it. Within the last 3 years, we've had a meeting with their representatives to find out if there were things that we could do in Duval County that would be of assistance to them and to the citizens of Nassau County. The St. Mary's River is a political boundary between us and the state of Georgia, but it is not an economic boundary. The citizens of Nassau County and the citizens of Camden County, Georgia, and Charlton County are all affected by the things that we do in this area. And that's why the legislature, in its wisdom, granted this power for us to engage in these businesses, or the opportunity. And those discussions also are taking place and have taken place. The Ocean Highway and Port Authority is not just an entity that owns a small deep water port. It has tremendous potential for the citizens of Nassau County for their benefit. And that's why the Port Authority Commissioners asked that this charter amendment be granted. We're glad to answer any other questions or give you any other cross-references to statute. But we're not asking for anything that is special, I guess is what I'm saying.